Boxford Model B. The astute amongst you will realise that it isn't actually a Model B, it's a TUD. The original lathe was a TUD, which is a training lathe, so no lead screw, basic speeds, 4 speeds, no back gear. Yeah, I think this is the cheapest lathe I have ever bought. The original lathe in all its glory, which if I've got a picture I will insert there, cost me 60 quid. This Model B bed and a box of other parts was nothing, was given to me. There is some wear in it, but not really any more wear than what was in the TUD bed. So the bed's 100mm longer, so it's technically a long bed. I think it's 40 inches overall. Standard Boxford is 3 foot normally. Yeah, whole thing's been stripped back. It's had 2 coats of red enamel on the inside. It's had 2 coats of hammer oak blue on the outside of everything, other than the compound, because I decided to do that in the red enamel as well, just because I thought it was a funky colour. So this following video, which may turn into a couple, is going to be me sticking it back together. The following video will be me assembling it, bolting it to the bench. I've got a full set of pulleys from an underdrive lathe, because this is obviously rear mounted motor. The Model B was, and the TUD didn't have a stand or anything, it was just a lathe, so there was none of that. So it'll all be mounted to steel bench. It's got levelling feet on it, probably needs a couple more braces, but we'll get there when I know where I'm mounting the lathe. So yeah, hopefully someone may find this interesting. Right, headstock is on. They just slide on, and you've got 2 bolts underneath, front and back, to tighten up, and it just clamps over this V-way here and on this flat. So the head is on. The bolts are nipped. They're not tight, but they're nipped so it don't move and fall off. There's no point tightening them completely, because when it's all together it needs tramming and stuff, but it's on. Just the fact of getting the head on is quite an achievement for me. I think this has been the best part of, I don't know, 2 months worth of evenings, just coming in here, taking a bit off, and I eventually got the whole thing stripped down, then wire wheeling everything to get the paint off bit by bit, and then I started with the bed, masked it up. The inside had 2 coats of primer, then it had 2 coats of red enamel, then it was let that dry. The outside had 2 coats of primer, 2 coats of the blue, then everything else then got 2 coats of blue. It's been quite an achievement to get it to this far, and it still isn't even a lathe yet as such, but there we go. Right, I think next is going to be probably the Apron and Carriage, because that's one piece together at the moment. So I'll get that up and ready, and that'll be the next bit to go on. Right, your apron's pretty simple. obviously the saddle, apron, you've just got a pin which this gear rides on, and then you have geared shaft which drops through, and your handle's on the other side. So grub screw in there. I think I probably want a little bit of lubricant on there. Some long lasting spray grease, and then same again. Line them up. Should be good to go. As you can see, this was the original colour. I believe it's smoke grey or whatever it is, which nice colour, but I already had this blue, so I went with that. And then your apron. I don't know why I'm doing that. Your apron slides on from the end with the whole thing as one. Now, there's no handle on there because they are currently not been wire wheeled. Another small tip for you: everything from one thing goes in a tub. These are just maxi bin, I don't know, you pick them up along the way. As you can see, everything in there is just a bit of surface rust, bit of corrosion, nothing fancy. So each bit will then get sorted out as I go along. But that is a lot further forward than I was before I started, so I think my next step is to get the back secure and strip on, and see where we go from there. So the back of the carriage is held on by this, which stops it from tipping forward, and I'm sure it's sided, probably, maybe. Probably should have paid attention to that before I took it off. Right. Even with a handle, I can turn that and move it. And like I said, there is some wear to these ways. The camera can probably just pick up the shadow there. So this is the one that your tailstock runs on. So this lathe is never going to be pucker, but it's somewhere in the region of okay. And considering the age of a rear drive Model B, which is what the bed's from, I've got a spare carriage, I've got a spare cross slide, and I have a spare headstock with no internals, but I've got a spare headstock, and there's a plan for that spare headstock. So I have never found anyone else that's done it. So yeah. Obviously your carriage lock comes through here, which is this piece here. So that's my next step. Focus. So this has all been wire wheeled. The original bolt has all been wire wheeled. So with your carriage lock, it fits down the back, underneath, and if you get the feel right, there, it literally just sits loose, your carriage moves, even with a little nip. And you slack it off and it just glides along on that front edge. So, one carriage lock. Now as I've zoomed in here, you may be able to see there is some slight marking. So when I bought the TUD, it had been left in a barn, as a lot of old lathes end up being. So this has all been wire wheeled, but you can't see any scraping marks anymore. So it remains to be seen how well, when the gib strip is on and cleaned up, it all goes. But I'll work on that if and when I need it. It shouldn't be too bad because it was moving and free when I got the lathe, so that's a good start. So I think next is going to be get the lead screw and cross slide on. So there's a couple of bits I need to clean up. I'll go and get them done. But I think I shall leave it there. As you can see, we've got a handle, it's been wire wheeled, it hasn't been painted. I've not decided on what colour I want to do them. So I've left them original. Rightly or wrongly, I will paint them or do whatever I'm going to do to them at a later date. Now, I don't know whether... No, it didn't come off that one. I don't think this had a washer on it. I think that just popped over. Looks about right. I'll live with that.